Good afternoon, everybody. I know I'm kind of throwing all this out there at one time and everything, but just want to let everybody know that I appreciate their patience and everything, all the positive feedback and everything. Obviously, it's been kind of crazy, and we are trying to get everything kind of situated and make sure that everything's good to go. Here's the big thing is that right now we have, it looks like 8 entries into the league for tonight. It should be able to get filled here pretty quick. Going to be a big night on FanDuel and DraftKings, obviously. The biggest thing is that you got to make sure that you nail that starting pitching for tonight, because this is going to be one of those nights where if you don't, then you are going to be behind the 8 ball. So that's one of the big things. It's kind of crazy and stupid the way that things are running right now, because it seems like the Rogers Center has taken over and moved into Denver, and the Rockies are now the Toronto Blue Jays. So it's just kind of one of those things that everything is kind of weird. So let's make sure that we do what we can to capitalize off that chaos and hopefully take down some GPPs tonight. Part of my article that's going to be tonight is going to be a breakdown of a Survivor tournament that I've been doing on DraftKings. I started out with 2 teams, and through running the spreadsheet tool and everything with my settings, I've been running those. It's not only for my benefit. Obviously, I would love to take down the thing, but it's also for your guys' benefit as well. So you guys can actually see the success that I'm actually doing with the tool, and using it as a baseline, and using a lot of what's available in the tool that Brian's made available to us, and applying it towards DFS on a day and on a nightly basis. So always remember this: with MLB, it is not a sprint; it is a marathon. It is 162 games per team over 182 days. You might be on a little bit of a losing streak right now. That's okay. Cut your bankroll back, or cut your daily play down a little bit, and kind of pick it up and go from there. So I am trying to do this live thing just because of the fact that I was caught up at the insurance company trying to get everything done with my house today. And so I wasn't able to get out of there in time to basically record this and go over a game-by-game breakdown, and then let you guys read it, and you guys still have time for roster lock. So what I've done is actually taken this and shared the link on Google Plus. It looks like, yep, I've shared the link on Google Plus and made it to where you can basically join in the chat and ask some questions. Obviously, if you guys are watching this a little bit later, I'm talking to myself basically right now. So we're going to go over a game-by-game breakdown here in just a moment. And if nobody ends up jumping in on the chat, I'm going to try to kind of go through this real quick. That way everybody can kind of have a chance to listen to this and still have a chance to, make roster adjustments. So let's see here. Let's see here. Okay. Trying to actually just make sure it's working. So, all right, here's the deal. We've got games going on right now. Obviously, if you listened to my advice this morning and pivoted off of Edwin Encarnacion, you would have been upset for all of about 5 minutes. So if you pivoted off of Edwin Encarnacion, not to David Ortiz, but to Justin Smoke, then you are a very, very happy camper today. I missed the David Ortiz one. Burley was lights out today. And but so far it looks like we've hit on Robinson Cano. So what we're going to do is we're going to give this game by game breakdown real quick and see what we can do about turning some chaos into cash and hitting some more of these guys throughout the evening and making sure that you are good to go. So first game we're going to go over here is going to be the Pittsburgh Pirates versus the Detroit Tigers. I honestly really think that Vegas just said screw it today. And they decided that they were going to just make everything about as close as possible because there's not a real high favorite except for two. And it's kind of weird because one of the pitchers I never ever would have thought would have been the largest favorite of the night. So the Pittsburgh Pirates, we got AJ Burnett going against Alfred Simon. This is basically a pick 'em. We got a total at 8.5 here. Let's get to some of these guys. Got Detroit. Nope, not Cleveland. Detroit and Pittsburgh. Guys, if I jump up and down out of my seat, it's because somebody on the Rockies just hit a bomb. So they're down 3-1 right now on the top of the 6th, and Jesse Hunt's still kind of going. So, oops, crap. This is an absolute dumpster fire right now, guys.
Looks like it works.
Hey, buddy, how you doing?
Pretty good.
Awesome. Just wanted to make sure it actually works here.
Yeah.
Now if I can just find a way to mute everybody to where
yeah. Now that it works, let's make it not work.
Yeah. So I don't know how to do any of this. So all right, Ron, you can ask questions in chat if you want to, but I can't hear you, so I don't get distracted here. It's already bad enough. I'm already pre-distracted, so there you go. All right, good to go here. Now we got everything kind of updated. Oops. Okay, I should have muted you on my end. So should be good to go here. Okay. All right. So we've got the Pirates versus the Tigers. We got AJ Burnett versus Alfred Simon here tonight. Like I said, Vegas has pretty much gone off their rocker and made everybody a pick 'em. So we've got I like some of the Pirates or the Tigers bats, obviously, against AJ Burnett. The Tigers are always lower owned because, especially like Miggy Cabrera, because he's obviously an extremely good hitter, but everybody likes to find value and try to pay up or pay down and get too smart for their own good. So AJ Burnett is actually a very, very good pitcher. He's got a pretty high K per 9 innings, which is kind of funny because he used to not be so in love with his curveball. Heard a stat the other night. He actually throws his curveball more than any other pitcher in the big leagues right now, any other starter in the big leagues. So that's kind of a little bit different than where he used to go. So JD Martinez, Victor Martinez, Jonas Cespedes, Rajay Davis, Miggy, they're all in play tonight, in my opinion. And if you're going to go a little bit off the wall, I don't mind actually going down. And where did he go? Francisco Cervelli. I know he's $3,000 on DraftKings or on FanDuel right now, but he's actually done very, very well, and he's kind of the energy behind the train, or he's the engine behind the train for the Pittsburgh Pirates right now. So he's actually one of my favorite targets as far as catcher tonight. The good thing about it is there's not a lot of options at catcher, but I do believe he will go vastly overlooked. So that's always something to kind of take into consideration there. Next game, we got the Brewers versus the Phillies. Got Kyle Loesch and Aaron Harang. This is another one of those pick'em games. They're both slight favorites. The total is 8, and we got the Harangutan going again for us today. And so I will be targeting Milwaukee Brewers bats, but it will be with if I can fit them in. And here's the reason why. They're going to be one of the higher owned teams of the night, I believe. But I'm actually going to pivot the other way. And you guys hear me say this a lot. When people zig, I zag. People like to pick on Aaron Harang, but they also like to pick on Kyle Loesch. If you had to stack one game, this would be the game I would stack if you were just going to stack one game. And yes, I know we have the Rangers and Orioles coming up, but I will tell you why I would pick this game. It's both Kyle Loesch and Aaron Harang are absolutely having Aaron Harang started off really, really good, but the Brewers are actually starting to hit better versus right-handed pitching. Let's see if he's in the lineup here. Trying to flip between screens. Let's see here. We got a Brewers lineup. We've got Parra, Jeanette, Braun, Lynn, Gomez, Aramis Ramirez, Hernan Perez, and Martin Maldonado. So no Jonathan Lucroy, which kind of sucks a little bit, honestly. I was kind of hoping that he would actually play tonight. So Carlos Gomez I like. Adam Lind I love if you're going to pay up a little bit for first base. He's always somebody that's really, really good against left-handed pitching. Our spreadsheets absolutely are in love right now, depending on what your settings are, obviously. But our spreadsheets are absolutely in love with Ryan Howard. 2,500. His price has actually gone down after last night. I like Ryan Howard a lot, especially against right-handed pitching. He tends to, even though he's not hitting for a high average, he still strikes out. He's a lot of boomer bust, but he is actually starting to get that power stroke back a little bit. So I believe he's got like 13 or 14 home runs. He's not going to hit 50 again in his career, but he can still hit it over the wall, especially in that hitter's park. So with everybody paying up for either Miggy or Ryan Howard, or sorry, not Ryan Howard, Adam Lind, or some of these other first basemen that are coming up, it is not a bad idea to kind of drop down and get some power where you can for a cheaper, and then that'll make sure that you differentiate yourself in your lineups and your GPPs. So cash games, I wouldn't do it, but for GPPs, load Ryan Howard up. And Maikel Franco, absolutely 100% load him up. He's actually been the Phillies' best hitter over the last 6 weeks. And it's really, really nice to be able to not have to yes, I do agree. Chris Davis is a great play, and Goldie is a locky if you can afford him. I will get to those games. I promise you that one. I've got my thoughts on Chris Davis, especially after last night. But Maikel Franco, he's second on the team in RBIs, and he's done it in, I believe, 20 less games. Don't forget, he started the year in the roster or on the MLB squad, and he actually got sent down for a little bit. They want him to work on some stuff, and then ever since he's come back up about 6 weeks ago, he's been on an absolute tear. Righties, lefties, it doesn't matter. He's absolutely just been crushing the ball lately. He still gets that positive park shift, and facing Kyle Loesch is always, always, always going to get you a deeper look from my lineups, especially lately. So next game we're going to go to is a game some of you guys have been talking about already. The Rangers and the Orioles. We've got Nick Martinez at a 160 dog versus Wei Shen at a minus 174 favorite. He's actually the largest favorite of the afternoon or the evening. And that is one of the weirdest things that I have ever seen as far as a slate of MLB is concerned. The reason is because Wei Chen has actually given up, I think it's like 12 home runs to right-handed batters. They absolutely crush him. I can see a couple righties going off against them tonight, but Chris Davis is obviously he's the top first baseman per price on FanDuel, on DraftKings. DraftKings is actually kind of nice because you can slide him over there to third base, and that'll help you differentiate yourself a little bit. But Chris Davis is, man, he owes me after last night. He kind of owes me a little bit. So I believe, or maybe it was 2 nights ago, and I was off of him last night. Let me double check here.
He had 2 gongs last night.
Yeah, okay. So it was 2 nights ago. It was 2 nights ago that he I've got all my days mixed up here. That he actually kind of screwed me over a little bit. So just to give you a little bit of BVP, because I know they've been doing it. Another one to kind of look out for is going to be Adam Jones. He came back on Sunday, went 0 for 4, but he's starting to hit the ball a little bit harder again. Versus right-handed pitching this year, Adam Jones is got 7 home runs, 27 RBIs, a 165 ISO, which isn't great, but his OPS and BABIP are above league average. And he's not a reverse splits guy like a lot of people actually think he is. He does hit left-handed pitching a lot better, but he's somebody that always, always, always is in play when going up against lower quality pitching, especially in hitters' ballparks. Let's see. Is Wieters in the lineup tonight? No, he's not. Caleb Joseph is. If you look towards some value toward the bottom part of these lineups, we've got Sinshu Chu batting in 7th. I don't mind Robinson Chirinos as a value play at catcher. Ryan Ruo, he's don't know how to pronounce the last name, but he's actually done some nice things. And then I guess the theme of the day would be fade Mitch Moreland at your own risk. He's one of those. He's got two home run games in a row, and he is batting 5th behind Adrian Beltre. So this is one of the higher totals of the night. Obviously, we've got the D-backs and Dodgers, and we've got the Pirates and Tigers. But other than that, this is the highest total of the night. So if you're going right-handed bats, I like Adrian Beltre as a value play at third base. But other than that, I'm pretty much targeting just Orioles in this game. So next game, we've got the New York Yankees versus the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. Nathan Eovaldi is this game is basically a pick 'em again going against Matt Shoemaker. Total is 8. Kind of watch out for the weather. It says a 20% chance of rain, but they did have the tarp was on the field a little bit this morning, and it was more of, I think, just precautionary because I've been watching this Rockies game, and it's been clear blue skies. So for the Angels, I'm locking and loading Cole Calhoun. He's my value outfielder of the night. I don't mind Matt Joyce, but he's been struggling a lot lately. He's one of those players that he's either going to get you 1 or 2 points, or he's going to get you 6, 7. But most of the time, every time I've rostered him, he ends up being in the negative for me. So I'm probably going to stay away from him. I don't mind Mike Trout and Albert Pujols are always in play, but I don't mind Eric Ibar as a punch shortstop going against Eovaldi, just because the fact that with Brian McCann behind the plate, who's average at throwing runners out, and Eovaldi, who's average at holding runners on. I could see Giovitella, I could see Ibar, I could both running and creating some. As far as the Yankees, I always love Teixeira and Brian McCann going against right-handed pitching. I love them more in, obviously, Yankee Stadium, but I don't mind them here in this spot just because I think they're going to be overlooked by a lot of people in GPP. So Brett Gardner, obviously, is always in play. Steven Drew, if you're going to do one of those little wraparound stacks, I don't mind going to Gregarious, Drew, Gardner, and Headley on FanDuel. If you're going to go 4, it kind of allows you to get some bottom of the order production because it will they'll go overlooked. And if you can get some production from down at the bottom of the order, they're going to be extremely low owned, and it's going to make things very nice you moving up the leaderboard. So let's see here. Going to the Indians versus the Rays, and the top pitcher on my board of the night, the second pitcher on my board of the night, Carlos Carrasco. He's only a -133 favorite, it looks like. Where'd that game go? There it is. Looks like that line actually has gone up. He's a -142 favorite now. That total is at 7. He's going against Alex Colomé. But if you are paying up at a position that is normally punted tonight, I say this time and time again, when people zig, I like to zag, and it's just to kind of differentiate myself and push me up the leaderboard. I like Jason Kipnis. I've loved him for the last month, and anytime I can fit him into my lineup, if the value shows up, then I plug him in and I just watch him keep climbing. So he depending on the matchups, he goes a little bit higher owned, but I don't think that he's going to be depending on the size of your tournament more than 15% owned tonight. So that's kind of your mid-level tournaments as far as 500-600 people. If you're going up to the 20,000, I think let's see here, we've got, especially if you're taking a shot at one of these qualifiers and stuff, he's not a bad play to put in there at second base because people are going to be paying up in a lot of other positions. So Francisco Lindor, he's another cheap shortstop play that I like. He doesn't get pinch hit for because he's a switch hitter, which is always nice, especially in today's sabermetrics way that managers actually go. I like Joey Butler if you're going to go with the capitalizing off of chaos. Carlos Carrasco is going to be one of the higher owned pitchers in the night. And he is so I like Joey Butler and I like Kevin Kiermaier, even though he's been struggling. David DeJesus is always a good play. He's batting cleanup right now. I know he's been struggling, but they put him there in that part of the lineup because nobody else can hit there. And so I think he'll have some opportunities to make some stuff happen if some people can get on in front of him. So Brandon Moss has been struggling lately. So Carlos Santana is having a horrible year. He either hits the ball out of the yard, walks, or strikes out. I believe he's approaching the 220 mark as far as his batting average is concerned. And it's not going to pull it up. Awesome. So this site is absolutely making me mad right now. Michael Brantley is always an intriguing option. I don't know if the Rays or if the Indians are going to score another 6 runs again tonight. Alex Colomé is actually a decent pitcher as far as his statistics are showing. He's due to actually progress a little bit. His xFIP, and he's pitching at a 4.5 ERA right now, and his True Talent shows that he should be pitching right around a 4.12. So he's not a bad option if you're taking a GPP with multiple teams. So let's see here. Next game of the night, we've got the Giants and the Marlins. I guess Chris Hardy thinks that Travis Snyder is a lock. That'd be pretty. Let's see. He's batting 7th. Yeah, I've actually liked playing him, Chris Parmelee, and David Lowe as some cheap value options in the outfield lately, depending on who's always in there. Because depending on what happened the night before, one of the other two is going to go off, and it's kind of been like a nice little carousel for me. So I tend to try to find players that work and that produce on a consistent basis, obviously, and stick to them. And those 3 have been playing very, very well lately. It's kind of weird with Adam Jones back in the mix now, but he is he's definitely somebody that has been on my radar and I've actually looked into. So, okay, back to the Giants and the Marlins. And my top pitcher of the night is actually Chris Heston. And the reason for that is because, as I've got bugs or gnats flying around, nobody in the world is going to be looking at Chris Heston. We wanted to sit there and think about who we could target on a nightly basis. We thought it was the Braves at the beginning of the year. We thought it was the Phillies. The Phillies end up being a good target for pitchers against, but they still have some power. The Miami Marlins right now honestly have very, very little power. D. Gordon's home run last night, if you didn't see it, was actually an inside the park home run. It was kind of crazy to watch. I called the Justin Bourdon last night. in my value play article. He does have the ability to hit 2 out at any moment, but Chris Heston, he threw the no-hitter a little bit or a couple weeks ago in New York, came out and had a good outing in San Francisco last time. But he keeps the ball on the ground. He keeps the ball in the yard. And the way that they've got that defense kind of aligned right now, Brandon Belt actually is playing left field. Angel Pagan looks like that knee is actually not going to give him any problems like we thought it was going to. But Joe Panic, he's one of the best defensive second basemen in the National League right now. You're looking at obviously Matt Duffy, who's been the surprise for the Giants at third base, and Buster Posey is the best catcher in the majors as far as all around defensively and offensively. The only one that isn't in play for me tonight as far as hitter wise is going to be Justin Maxwell. Earlier in the year, he was very, very good. He was getting the arms extended. Pitchers weren't jamming him inside. And then they started to figure it out, and now they're getting in his kitchen, so to speak, and he is not responding very well, which has been his knock his whole big league career. So I like the killer peas, as one of my buddies calls them, with Pagan, Panic, and Posey. Throw Belt in there. If I'm going to stack on DraftKings tonight in the tournament, I'm going Panic, Duffy, Belt, Croft, just to kind of, because I think Posey's going to be one of the higher owned catchers of the night, and you can put him at first base over there on DraftKings as well. So with Susac not behind the plate, D. Gordon's off the table for me. Kristen Yelich is kind of having a sophomore slump type of year. He has come on as of late. Justin Bour is always going to be a GPP play because he fits into that Houston Astros mold. Real Muto, he was good at the beginning of the year. He's kind of tailed off a little bit, but those are about the only 4 with Giancarlo out that you can actually look at. I just don't think Hechavarria is a good hitter. He's too inconsistent for me to even consider putting in cash games or GPPs. So he doesn't do anything for me, and especially at second base, I can find better things going on. So Nationals and Braves, and this is the one that we have to watch out about the weather. It looks like right now we've got between a 35 and 55% chance of rain. So kind of watch that as we get roster locks here in about an hour. Looks like we've got who's the best option at shortstop under 3,400 for GPPs or cash? GPP. The top guy on my board is let me sort here. Top guy on my board tonight is going to be Nick Ahmed. He's kind of hit Brett Anderson a little bit better. Brett Anderson's getting that negative park shift. I know what Brett Anderson's capable of as far as getting a lot of ground balls, but Nick Ahmed has been a very, very good surprise this year. I don't mind him single-handedly. I don't mind him with a small little Arizona stack. And if you can get him in there and fit him in with A.J. Pollock and Paul Goldschmidt, hitting at the top of that lineup, I think you could end up having some really, really, really good correlation in there and taking off. So Peralta. Yeah, Peralta. I like Peralta. He's right there on that verge on 3.4K. The problem with Peralta is I want to spend up at other positions. I want to load up on my outfield bats. I want to load up at third base, and I want to load up at second base, actually. So I don't mind Peralta as far as like a Cardinals stack. Maybe throw in, if you're throwing in Grichuk, go Peralta, Reynolds, Grichuk in there as far as 3. If you're going 4 or 5 on DraftKings, you can, hold on, I'm pulling it up here. You can throw Reynolds over at third base, maybe Chris Davis at first base. Then you've got, it looks like Peralta's at 3.8K. You've got Yachty, Grichuk. Throw Jason Hayward in there as well. If you have, whoa. I was not expecting that. If you've got, if you can fit Jason Hayward in there, I don't know why he's hitting 7th now. He's been their best hitter as of late. But that's Mike Matheny for you. I never know what he's doing. He's kind of that Walt Weiss mode, and he absolutely just, it's weird to me. So let me refresh this here. Let's see here. Chris Heston. I like Grandal. He actually killed me last night. Howie Kendrick put me in really, really good position to salvage a night on FanDuel, and then Grandal came out and hit those, or hit the 2-run double in the 11th, and just crushed those dreams. And when I say dreams, I mean just allowing me to salvage and break even and not get absolutely just completely taken advantage of. So I do not like Adrian Gonzalez, and the only reason is because it is a lefty-on-lefty matchup. I know Adrian Gonzalez can hit lefties, but he is been struggling as of late. This was a guy that earlier in the year we were paying, upwards to $4,200 for on FanDuel. Now he's, at what is it, $2,900? Sorry, he's at $3,000 on FanDuel. And until he puts a couple, even in a positive park, until he puts a couple games together, he's going to be that guy that I kind of stay away from. And one of the reasons is because with his price tag so far down, people are jumping all over him every single night. I think he was like 23 or 24% owned last night. People see him as an absolute value, which they're absolutely 100% right if he was hitting, but he's not hitting. He's not getting on base, and he's not driving in runs right now. So, no, you're fine. It's not too much info. I just wasn't expecting it. So it's one of those things that it's more of what have you done for me lately? And I know we like to buy on players that are struggling, but he's been struggling for so long. This was a guy that we were talking about at the beginning of the season as a possible MVP candidate. So he might not. I don't even think he makes the All-Star game now. So there's no. I don't think. I know he's not making the All-Star game unless Los Angeles does something in the next 24 hours. So let's see here. Jimmy Paredes I like as far as a Baltimore stack, but if I'm just if I'm just paying for if I'm going to pay $3,300 for I love Luis. I love Valbuena tonight. The problem is Volquez doesn't allow a lot of home runs. Let's see here. If I remember correctly, he's only allowed 5 home runs this year, and 2 to righties, 3 to lefties. So that's one of the things that he has to deal with is he keeps the ball in the ballpark. Now, I know he pitches a lot of his games in Kansas City, but he's for some reason he's an effective pitcher now. I don't know if it's because he's redone his changeup or what they've done, but they've really, really, really straightened him out there in Kansas City. So he's let's see here. I'm trying to see if there's something that I'm missing with him. I do like I said, I like Valbuena. I like, especially in GPP, the Astros are always in play, but I think you can find better value for your price and possibly get a dong out of it somewhere else. But that's me. I think Maikel Franco for $100 more is in a better spot facing Kyle Loesch. I don't think he's going to be. Actually, he's $100 less. I don't think he's going to be as highly owned because people love. Houston is the darlings of DFS right now. So let's see here. Going through this, AJ Pollock, I like. Obviously, as part of the Arizona stack, I like him standalone too. I love JD Martinez tonight. Yasmani Tomas as well. I saw one in here. No, this was in my lineup. Right now, my lineup, I've got Ian Desmond as one of my value plays. I still got $700 to play with, but I don't hear a lot of people talking about that Nationals Braves game right now. And I won't take a Nats pitcher with that defense. I believe I've said it a couple times in previous shows, but I've been burned too many times this year by bad defenses, blown it late, and it cost me live final seats or top 10 finishes in the Slam, and I'm not trusting that Washington defense until they actually improve. So Nick Markakis, his price tag is actually started to go up around the industry. He doesn't hit for power, but he also gets on base a lot. The problem is like I've said over and over again, without Freddie Freeman in that lineup, the Braves offense is not something that actually scares me at all. But as a value play, going against Doug Fister, who, if it wasn't for the weather, was going to be one of the higher-owned pitchers of the night, then you can definitely possibly target maybe Jace Peter, the top three in that order, and you might not get a home run out of it, but you probably will get some points and some runs out of it. So as far as the Washington Nationals, let's see, hold on one second, and I will answer your question, Chris. Bryce Harper, he's always in play, obviously. Yunel Escobar, he's kind of been struggling. He's either hit or miss. Denard Span has been pretty consistent throughout the year. Clint Robinson, I think, is a sneaky GPP play just because of the fact that everybody's going to be looking elsewhere at first base. So how do you handle it when you have more than $500 left in the MLB lineup? In NBA and NFL, I always try not to leave that much on the table. I just try to build the best lineup I can. I don't really pay attention to salary left over unless news dictates it. Meaning, like last night, Sonny Gray was scratch, and it had me pivot from Sonny Gray to I forgot who it was. Mike Montgomery, and it left me with I believe like $2,500 or $3,000 left on the table. And with the volatility in baseball, I really honestly, I don't always try to max out, because if you leave $1,000, $1,500 on the table, unless there's a guy that is just in that much better of a matchup than the player that you have in there and you can afford him, I don't tinker that much, because what ends up happening is you tinker one player and you only spend, if you've got $1,500 left, you only spend like $700 of it. Well, then you've got $700 and you're like, ooh, well, I can tinker here and I can tinker here. And by that time, what was and could have been a solid lineup is now what you can perceive a more solid lineup because of the pricing, but it ends up coming back and biting you in the butt. So you can actually build a very, very good lineup and still leave, at least on FanDuel, still leave $2,500 to $3,000 on the table some nights, depending on the value that opens up with the matchup and the pitching that's going on. So usually that's when, like players like Ryan Rayburn is facing a left-handed pitcher, or you've got like David Murphy tonight, and you've got a ton of value that's there, because what people try to do, especially in GPPs, if they've got a lower, like we've got a lower pricing gap as far as pitchers today. I think the highest pitcher owned or highest pitcher price is, let's see here tonight, is 9,100, and that's Carlos Carrasco. When you've got that, people are going to try to max out that $35K on FanDuel or that $50K on DraftKings, and you can really separate yourself by just making sure that you play the best position in, or the best players in the best positions in the best spots, and not worrying about how much money you've got left on the table. NBA and NFL, I totally agree with you. I try to get there. I try not to leave more than $500 on the table in those two, but for MLB, with the variance being so large and it being so volatile, I don't pay attention to it quite as much. So, okay, we got a couple more games to go through here, and we've got about 15, 20 minutes to get through it before we start making our last minute adjustments here. We've got, looks like the Cubs and the Mets, John Lester and Bartolo Colon. Bartolo Colon was somebody that made me a lot of money at the beginning of the year, and I fortunately jumped off of that bandwagon one start before he started blowing up, and now I target against him. I am firing up the Cubs left-handed bats, right-handed bats. All the Cubs batters are in play for me against Bartolo Colon, even with the negative park shift going to Citi Field. And one of the reasons is because even though Colon doesn't walk a lot of batters, he also allows a lot of hard contact to both righties and lefties. So let's see here, Bartolo Colon, pull him up. Oops. So he is allowing a 346 WOBA to lefties, a 328 WOBA to righties, and he's allowed 14 home runs over the this year, 8 to righties, 6 to lefties. So that's something that I always try to look at is split-handedness. But when it's when they're both that high, I don't generally go for splits. I load up the best player in the best position and I go to town. So kind of watch this game a little bit, and the reason I say that is because I really actually do like John Lester. I think at 8.6K going into Citi Field, he's absolutely in play for me tonight. I would probably in GPP roster John Lester over Carlos Carrasco tonight. So I know he's been struggling, but the Mets are not a very good hitting team, even though they hit lefties better than they hit righties. So as far as the Mets bats, Lucas Duda, he actually has been hitting lefties pretty good this year. John Mayberry, maybe. John Mayberry cost me about $20,000 the night that he hit the 2-run home run when they were in Arizona. Cost me a live final seat, cost me $20,000. So I have a personal grudge against John Mayberry, but if the situation dictates it, then go ahead and fire him up. He tends to hit left-handed pitching pretty well. So let's see here. Lowest total of the afternoon or the evening, we've got to watch it because of weather, especially if you're throwing in the pitchers in here. It's going to be the White Sox versus the Cardinals. There's some rain there right now. I think the last time I checked, they had the tarp on the field. I got a buddy that's actually up there at that game, and he's been sending me pictures and stuff. But Adam Eaton, man, I don't know what's gotten into this guy. He's had a couple good years, but all of a sudden lately, he fires on that first pitch of the game, and I think 4 out of his last 6 or 7 games, he's ended up firing on it. He's hit it out of the ballpark. So a GPP outfield play, maybe if you're running multiple lineups out, but cash games, none of these White Sox backs are actually in play for me tonight. The reason is John Lackey is actually very, very good in St. Louis. He has a 1.91 ERA at home. He is striking out batters at a 17.4% of the time, but it's kind of one of those situations that I tend to look at the home road splits. His whip is about league average, but the White Sox are absolutely putrid versus righties, versus lefties, versus my little sister throwing underhand. So it's kind of one of those things until I don't know why that offense is so bad, but with Jose Abreu moving up, they're trying to get him going. They're moving him up to the 2-hole. They're kind of shuffling things around. And with the left-handed bats for the Cardinals back in play tonight, even going against Jose Quintana, I don't mind a little Colton Wong, Matt Carpenter, Johnny Peralta. Like I said, if you're going to go as far as a GPP stack, maybe even a little wraparound stack. I'm actually surprised that Matheny doesn't have Lackey batting 8th and Borges batting 9th. So. Okay, last 2 games of the night, we've got the Royals and the Astros. That total is at 7.5. We've got Vincent Velasquez at a -120 favorite. This is his second start at home going against Edison Volquez. As always, the Astros are always in play as far as a GPP is concerned. I'm not playing them in cash games. I don't have them in any cash game lineups at all. And it's because they're boom or bust. When you strike out as a team 26% of the time versus righties versus lefties, but you still have a 192 ISO versus that handedness of pitching, you know it's either boom or bust because those are the 2 extremes on both of those statistics right there. So as far as the Royals, I don't foresee them getting swept by the Astros. So I think it's going to be a lot closer game. I like Lorenzo Cain. I like Mike Moustakas. If you're going to go down a little bit, you got to be kidding me, Charlie Blackmon. If you're going to go down a little bit at third base, Kendrys Morales has actually kind of been the forgotten man on the Royals. The reason is because everybody kind of goes towards Eric Hosmer, but I've been riding Kendrys Morales in good matchups. So. Alex Gordon is definitely in play for me tonight, and Jared Dyson is always in play. The problem that you have with the Royals is they could score 8 runs, and you have no idea where that production is coming from. They don't hit home runs. They will walk. They will single you. They will double you to death. They will take the extra base. They will hit and run. They play good smart, hard baseball. They're a fun team to watch, just not a fun team to roster for fantasy purposes, just because they kind of drive you nuts. They kind of dink and dunk and nickel and dime you. So, all right, last game of the night. This is going to be, in my opinion, this is going to be the highest or the second highest scoring game of the night, right behind the Brewers and the Phillies, and that is going to be the Dodgers and the D-backs. We've got 2 lefties going here. We've got Brett Anderson at a -133 favorite versus Robbie Ray. It is an 8.5 total. Paul Goldschmidt, if you remember my pay up article last week, I always love paying up for Goldschmidt because of the fact that he is it drives his ownership percentage down. I think with the way that Anderson has actually been pitching, it's going to drive it down a little bit more tonight. Don't have to worry about Adrian Gonzalez in the Dodgers lineup. He is out. Justin Turner is batting third. He's been the most popular play in DFS over the last 6 weeks. And over the last 162 games for the Dodgers, if you compare his stats to everybody else's stats over that time frame in the majors, he is actually the best hitter top to bottom in Major League Baseball. I love him for cash games. There is extreme merit to fading him in tournaments. I do like Kiki Hernandez at second base, batting leadoff there. But like I said, I also like Nick Ahmed. But that's about it as far as – I don't know why David Peralta is batting eighth. I don't understand that. I don't – these managers are absolutely just insanely dumb sometimes. So I don't see how you can have David Peralta batting under Salty and Aaron Hill. So that boggles my mind. Alex Guerrero is always a GPP game or a GPP outfielder in play, and Scott Van Slyke crushes left-handed pitching. Absolutely, 100%. I will have him definitely in a couple of lineups tonight, and just because of the fact that that's what he does. That's why he's on that team, is to hit left-handed pitching. The National League West has obviously left-handers like De La Rosa and Madison Bumgarner, and he is that's what he's there for. That's why they kept him in the big leagues over the course of the last couple of years. He's mediocre versus right-handed pitching. He can't play defense, so that's fair. Jimmy Rollins, you've got the bones. Don't mind if you ride the Howie Kendrick train from last night. He kind of started slumping a little bit, but I think he's starting to pull it around. And Yasiel Puig, the human entertainment reel, is always in play. The problem is that, man, he's frustrating to watch too, because it looks like he's not trying, and then he goes and he does some boneheaded thing, and then he'll come out and he'll stretch a double into a triple and end up scoring on a pop up to deep shortstop or something like that. I've unfortunately had the pleasure of watching him since he came up, and it's not been fun for me from a personal standpoint, being a Rockies fan. So, okay, a couple sneaky stacks that nobody's probably looking at. Everybody's going to be on the Rangers and Orioles after what they did last night. Where did it go? Tigers are always overlooked, and I think going against A.J. Burnett, being one of the higher-owned pitchers or the higher-priced pitchers of the night, that could be a sneaky stack. I think the Cubs are actually going to be sneaky just because everybody else is going to look towards better hitters' parks. The Royals are going to be a sneaky stack because people are going to overlook them and go to the Astros side of the ball. And then the Cardinals. For some reason, the Cardinals, unless they're facing a dumpster fire pitcher or a rookie, they are always a sneaky stack. So, my dong of the night, I'm going to. Oh man, here so many options. Who do I want to go to? I had Justin Bour yesterday. I picked Robinson Cano earlier today. I picked Justin Smoke earlier today as well as a nice little pivot. Had no idea that he was going to go off for 2 home runs, but that's always nice. I'm going to give you 2 here. I'm going to go with Anthony Rizzo versus Bartolo Colon. And I'm going to go with stay away from people I've talked about a lot. Let's go with. I'm gonna go with. I'm gonna go with Randall Grichuk. He's been hitting the ball really, really hard as of late since he came back up. I think he's actually making a push to where when Holiday comes back, he's going to be their everyday center fielder, and one of either John Jay or Peter Borges is going to have to go. So I think it's going to be Randall Grichuk. So we're going to go Randall Grichuk and who was the other one I just said? Oh, Anthony Rizzo. So. Guys, it's 5:30 Central Time, 6:30 on the East Coast. So we've got about 35 minutes to roster lock. Hope I was actually able to help somebody today. I know it's been kind of crazy. Like I said, be patient with me as far as the analysis, since the fact that I am running around like a little chicken with my head cut off. I'm trying to close on this house, and I'm trying to get you guys good quality information too, and not just slap things together. So I will have an article coming out here in the next couple hours. It has nothing to do with the games and everything. It has more to do with having a plan of attack as far as building lineups and not just throwing a bunch of players together and hoping that it sticks. That's a good way that you can diminish your bankroll. So I have been working on that. So check back here in a couple hours on our Google Plus page. I will obviously post it. And guys, for Spreadsheet Sports, this is Boomer's daddy, Keith, Oklahoma boy, whatever you want to call me. I don't care, just as long as it's nice and I can repeat the name to my wife. Then we're good to go. So good luck tonight, everybody. Oh, one last thing. I wanted to check and see. Let's see here. We have 8 entries so far in the Spreadsheet Sports League. So let's get this filled up. I'd like to get it up to 20 eventually. So let's get this thing filled up and get this bad boy rocking. And hopefully we can have some fun. And I'll do a lineup analysis probably tomorrow. And give you guys an optimal lineup through about what I was thinking tonight. So, guys, good luck tonight. Have fun in your games, and enjoy the rest of your night. Thanks.